Healing is not about being freed from pain, but about returning to your true nature, where nothing can hurt you. Healing makes you invulnerable. Healing is a silent process, without noise, without bright light. It is like the dawn. When the sun comes up, no one hears its sound, but the whole world is different. Because true healing does not burst into change. It seeps into you like morning dew into a leaf, so light that the mind does not register it, but the soul feels it very clearly. Yogananda once said, "When the soul begins to awaken, you will not feel that you are changing, but one day you look back and you will see that you are no longer the same person." That is true healing. 1. Healing is not about fixing. It is about remembering yourself. You are not broken. You were never broken. The soul cannot be broken. Only the mind is covered with darkness. Healing is not a process of trying to change yourself to become better, but a return to your original nature, pure, loving, peaceful. 2. Wounds are awakening points, not enemies. Wounds never come to harm you. They come to open your eyes. Because without experiencing brokenness, you will never look inside. People only begin their journey of enlightenment when they know that pain is God's invitation to return home. 3. Healing happens in layers. Yogananda sees people not only through the physical body, but through 5 layers of vibration. Body, stable, no longer exhausted when emotions arise. Emotions, no longer explosive, although sometimes sad. Mind, no longer driven by thoughts. Energy, prana flows gently. Soul, calm, clear. When healing, these layers transform slowly like a tide. You don't see it rising, but when it overflows, you realize how far you have come. Sign 1. You don't seek outside recognition as much as before. When someone heals, they become quieter, gentler, less boastful, and have almost no need for recognition from others. 1. Why do unhealed people always seek recognition? Because they are empty inside. When they lack foundation inside, they will seek foundation from the outside. They don't really want to be praised. They want to know that they are enough. They don't really want to be loved. They want to fill an old emotional void. They don't really want to be seen. They fear abandonment. The ego can only survive by clinging to the gaze of others. Signs you're more healed than you think. 1. You're no longer trying to impress. In the past, you might have tried to appear smart, strong, talented, or at peace. But as you heal, you become more authentic to yourself. You don't wear masks. You don't have to look enlightened. You just have to be yourself. 2. You're no longer afraid of being misunderstood. Unhealed people are terrified of being misunderstood. Healers know that others only see you through their own limitations. No one understands me no longer hurts. You know yourself. That's enough. 3. You no longer want to argue to prove you're right. You realize that peace is more important than winning. You understand that every soul is on a different path, and everyone will understand in their own time. You smile, step back, and hold your energy. That is healing. When you truly heal, you become yourself, gentle, humble, and self-possessed. You no longer speak to be heard, no longer live to be seen, no longer love to be loved in return. You do it all from a place of abundance, not from a place of lack. And that is one of the most important signs that you are much more healed than you think. Sign 2. You no longer react strongly to what used to hurt. Situations that used to make you explode emotionally no longer have the power to control you. It's not because you've become cold. It's because you've grown beyond your old vibrations. It's not because you're callous. It's because you've deeply understood the nature of things. 1. Things that used to hurt you no longer touch you at first. In the past, a careless word could make your heart shrink. A silence could make you think for hours. A seen no reply message was enough to keep you awake. You react strongly because there's an unseen wound inside you. But then one day you realize you no longer react as before. Your emotions no longer escalate. The pain no longer drags you into the same spiral. That's not inertness. That's freedom. 2. Not reacting strongly is a sign of someone living at a higher level of consciousness. We often think we've healed when old situations disappear. But Yogananda teaches, it's not the outside world that has changed, it's you who has grown. The same painful things still appear, but you see them with new eyes. You're not as afraid of rejection as before. You're not affected by other people's ignorant words. You're no longer struggling to find reasons why they did that. You're not falling into negative thought spirals. You're no longer unconsciously reacting. You've moved from reaction to awareness. This is the difference between the 3D and 5D levels of consciousness. 3D reacts, 5D observes. 3D hurts, 5D understands. 3. You no longer see problems as an attack on yourself. Unhealed people always personalize things. They say that because they don't respect me. They do that because they don't respect me. They treat me that way because I'm not good enough. But when you heal, you begin to understand that other people's actions reflect their pain, not your worth. Other people's words are products of their minds, not truth. How they behave comes from their wounds, not from your soul's essence. You see things without attaching yourself to them. You understand what they do speaks about them, not about me. For you begin to look at the cause instead of reacting to the symptom. The unhealed person expresses emotions like anger, sadness, anger. But the healing person asks, why is this hurting me? What is the hidden lesson? What is this emotion trying to tell me? What does my inner child need? 5. You know that non-reaction is strength, not weakness. You begin to understand Yogananda's teaching. The strongest person is the one who can keep his peace in the storm. Non-reaction means you choose peace over violence. You choose awareness over ego. The moment you are no longer triggered by what used to hurt you, that is freedom. And that freedom is not given to you. You unlock it for yourself. The healing journey is never noisy, but you will recognize it when your heart no longer holds the storms of the past. That is the sign of transcendence. That is the sign of someone who has truly grown in consciousness. Sign 3. You know how to observe emotions instead of being catched by them. Before, emotions control you. Before, just one emotion appeared and you were immediately swept away like a big wave. Sadness sinking, anger exploding, self-pity shrinking. You had no space between you and your emotions. You thought you were your emotions. But as you grew spiritually, you realized a liberating truth. I am not my emotions. When you heal, you create inner space. That is the space where there is a stillness between you and your emotions. Emotions arise, but you do not immediately react. The moment you observe them, you have healed. Observing emotions is not avoiding emotions. Many people confuse the two. Avoiding emotions is pushing them aside, ignoring, suppressing, and observing emotions is taking the place of master. Listening to your body, understanding the feeling that is arising, allowing it to come and go. It is one of the highest spiritual skills. You begin to see the real cause behind each emotion. Instead of asking, why am I angry? You ask, what inside me is being triggered? Instead of asking, what did they upset me? You ask, what inside me needs to be listened to? You become gentle, understanding, and self-possessed. The emotional observer will always react more slowly, speak less, understand more, choose peace over impulsiveness. You become the master of your inner self, not by controlling, but by understanding. Sign 4. You no longer hide from the truth. There is a particular moment that marks a major shift in consciousness. You begin to dare to look straight at the truth. 1. You dare to look deeply into the things you were afraid to see. In the past, just thinking about the pain you wanted to avoid. Family wounds, false beliefs, mistakes you made, hidden shames, childhood traumas, unhealthy relationships. Just a glimpse of it makes your heart clench. But then, one very quiet day, you realize you have the courage to face, admit, shine, look straight, not run away. The truth is no longer scary because your heart has grown. 2. You understand that the truth does not hurt you. Avoidance hurts. The truth always brings light. It is avoidance that maintains the darkness. As you heal, you begin to feel that. Looking at the pain helps you release it. Telling the truth helps you lighten. Facing your emotions helps you grow. Admitting your shortcomings helps you grow. Accepting the truth helps you come back to yourself. 3. You dare to look at the truth about yourself without self-judgment. An important sign, you can admit your mistakes or weaknesses without hating yourself. This is the greatest step of spiritual maturity. You can say to yourself, I don't love myself enough. I reacted because of old wounds. I acted wrongly out of fear. I believed things that weren't true about my worth. I suffered too much because I didn't believe in myself. And you admit it without beating yourself up, without blaming yourself, without seeing yourself as weak. For you understand that truth always goes hand in hand with love. You are no longer afraid of the truth because you know the truth never comes to hurt you. The truth comes to free you from pain. You open yourself up to what you've been avoiding. The truth about yourself, the truth about others, the truth about relationships, the truth about your limits, the truth about what you truly want, the truth about what you deserve. You stop blindly clinging to beautiful illusions and choose the healing truth. Sign 5. Your heart becomes kinder, softer, and more compassionate. A beautiful thing happens when your soul heals. Your heart opens. Yogananda once taught, a healed heart is one that loves without fear. 1. You begin to feel the pain of others. When your heart softens, you become sensitive in positive ways. You listen more deeply. You understand more. You see what others don't say. You feel their energy. You don't need words to know someone is hurting. You don't need explanations to understand someone is afraid. 2. You no longer want to hurt anyone, either with words or energy. Unhealed people often hurt others unintentionally because they are so wounded inside. On the other hand, when you heal, you speak more slowly. You choose gentler words. You act more mindfully. You consider other people's feelings. You don't take your emotions out on others. You don't want anyone to feel the pain that tormented you. 3. You become more patient, accepting, and tolerant. Before, you were easily irritated, easily angered, easily judgmental. Now, you are patient with your own process. You are patient with other people's processes. You accept differences. You understand that everyone is fighting their own battle. You know that everyone has some kind of wound. 4. You love yourself deeply, and therefore you love the world more gently. This is the most important change. Wounded people cannot truly love. They love through fear, through clinging, through need. But the healed person will. Love without control. Love without fear of loss. Love without forcing. Love without losing oneself. Love with inner wholeness. And when your heart is full of love, you radiate it naturally, with your eyes, with your voice, with your presence, with your energy, with the way you treat yourself and others. This is the clearest sign that your soul has been deeply healed. 5. The universe begins to trust you and entrust you with the ability to heal others. When your heart becomes soft, peaceful, compassionate, non-judgmental, calm, loving, The universe will send you souls who need your light, not for you to save them, but for you to light their path. Yogananda once said, "A loving heart is the door through which the light of God enters the world." Conclusion: a message of enlightenment from the mind of Yogananda. Dear friend, as we look back on the journey we have just taken, the 5 signs of profound healing that you have experienced, I want you to take a slow, quiet breath and realize something important. You have changed more than you think. Paramahansa Yogananda once said, "Spiritual progress is not measured by what you boast about, but by what you silently transform in your own darkness." And you have done it.